All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tracking a really massive and pretty complex storm system that's marching across the United States. And honestly, it's a tale of two extremes, a real one-two punch of severe spring-like thunderstorms, followed by a pretty shocking return to winter.
And the scale of this thing, it's just immense. We're talking about more than 90 million people who are in the path of this system today. I mean, think about that. That's nearly a third of the entire country on alert for some kind of dangerous weather.
Okay, so let's dive into this. We're looking at two totally distinct, really powerful events that are going to unfold one right after the other. First up, we've got a widespread and dangerous severe storm outbreak. And then, hot on its heels, a major Arctic blast that's going to send temperatures absolutely plummeting.
So let's break down this first threat. This is not some localized event, This is a huge corridor of severe weather stretching all the way from the deep south right up into the northeast. It's a massive footprint.
Now, you might see the term slight risk and think, oh, it's not a big deal. But while it's not the highest moderate risk level we saw yesterday, the sheer size of this zone is what makes it so significant. We're talking upwards of 80 million people who need to be ready for some potentially severe storms. So, what are we actually up against today? Let's break down the specific threats on the menu and, most importantly, where they're most likely to pop up.
Now, check this out. This is really interesting. The threat is kind of split into two distinct zones. Take a look at the winds. In the Ohio Valley, the concern is for damaging winds around 60 to 70 miles per hour. But further south, that's where we could see winds gusting over 75 miles per hour. Two different areas, two slightly different levels of risk.
So here's the bottom line for millions of people. The biggest danger today isn't necessarily a tornado, but those powerful straight-line winds. We're talking gusts strong enough to knock down trees, cause widespread power outages, you know the drill.
But what about tornadoes? Well, this shows us exactly where that threat is most concentrated. We're keeping a close eye on two specific hotspots, one that stretches from Ohio into Pennsylvania, and a second one across the deep south. Now, the potential for strong tornadoes here is what we call conditional. It really hinges on whether individual isolated thunderstorms, these things called discrete supercells, can get going ahead of the main line.
So what's fueling this whole thing? Well, this is the engine. The storm circulation is acting like a giant vacuum, just sucking up this deep plume of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and shooting it north. And that's why seeing dew points in the low 60s in New York in early March is, well, it's almost historic. That's the kind of warm, sticky air that acts like rocket fuel for explosive storms.
Okay, paying attention to the timing here is absolutely critical for staying safe. So let's just walk through how this whole threat is going to evolve as the day goes on.
So the morning's going to be mostly just rain for a lot of folks, but things really start to ramp up after 1 p.m. That peak risk window for millions is going to be in the late afternoon, say from about 4 to 7 p.m. And notice this, the tornado risk could even continue after the sun goes down in the northeast. The whole system finally starts to wind down near the Gulf Coast after midnight.
So as this first wave of severe weather pushes out, it's so easy to think, okay, we're in the clear. Spring has finally arrived. But well, not so fast. The atmosphere has a pretty dramatic plot twist waiting for us.
Let's get to Act 2, because right behind all this spring-like warmth and storminess, winter is getting ready to make a seriously forceful comeback.
And we're not talking about just a simple cold front here. This is a powerful storm system in its own right, and it's expected to intensify fast. I mean, a central pressure dropping to 976 millibars, that is very strong for this time of year, and signals a major weather event for the Great Lakes and the Northeast.
But the real headline from this second storm isn't really the snow or the rain it might bring. The big story is the absolutely frigid Arctic air that it's going to drag south straight out of Canada.
I mean, just look at this. This perfectly captures the incredible weather whiplash we're about to feel. Places enjoying beautiful 60s and 70s today are going to see feels like temperatures plunge into the teens, and in some spots, even the single digits by Monday. It's a staggering drop.
So the big takeaway here is that this is going to be a widespread and pretty significant Arctic blast. Look how far south that cold air gets shoved. We're talking feels like temperatures in the 20s in parts of Alabama and Georgia. And then you have these dangerous below-zero wind chills gripping the Midwest. It is a harsh, harsh return to winter.
Ultimately, this whole tale of two storms is just a perfect example of what March weather is all about.
It's not a gentle transition, right? It's a volatile battleground where the last gasps of winter's chill clash violently with the growing power of summer's warmth. It really makes you wonder, what does a week